This video brought to you by Salesforce Docs. Welcome to Record Types, part of the Who Sees What series on data visibility and access in Salesforce. You often need the ability to organize and gather data in different ways and at different times around the same object. For example, you may have one case object, but two variations, internal and external. They might need to gather slightly different information and need different pick list choices. Even the business processes that each goes through might be different. Record types are the answer. They're incredibly versatile tools that help you collect and manage data about an object. Record types control three things: business processes, page layouts, and pick list values. Business processes are represented by special pick list fields that capture the life cycle of a standard object, such as an opportunity, case, or a lead, or a life cycle of a custom object. Page layouts let you select and organize groups of fields related to an object. Pick list values are the lists of choices that you define when you create a pick list field. You define a master list with all possible choices and use record types to display a subset, depending on the situation. Let's take a look at this in the app. We'll create the business processes, page layouts, and record types we'll need for internal and external cases. Then we'll create and assign our pick list values. First, let's add any values we need to the status field. The status field is used by case support processes. We type in any new field values we need for either internal or external cases, and save. Then we go into the support processes to define the processes that are unique to each type of case. We create a process for internal and external. Next, page layouts. We'll create the internal layout first. Before you do this, make sure you've created any custom fields you need. The custom fields we'll use in this example have already been created for us. We've got a custom field for location, so we know if the employee logging the case is in headquarters or in a satellite office. Let's drag that onto the layout, along with employee ID. For internal cases, instead of the contact field, we're using a custom lookup field that looks up to the user table. Let's remove the fields that aren't necessary for internal cases, like account. We cannot remove contact name field, but we can move it to a new section, so it's out of the way. Notice there is no field for record type yet. As soon as we create at least one record type, the system generates a field called Case Record Type, and we can then add it to the page layouts. This isn't necessary, but your users may find it useful to see which record type they are using, especially if they have access to more than one type. We save the internal layout. Now let's create the external layout. We'll base this on the existing case layout. We can add any necessary custom fields, delete fields we aren't using, and organize everything into sections. And save. Now we'll create two record types. We name this record type internal, choose the internal support process we just defined, give it a description, and make sure it is active. Now, let's make this record type available to the profiles that will use it. Only our support users create internal cases, so we select just that profile. On this screen, we choose which page layout to use. We select the internal page layout we just created, and click Save and New. Now, let's create the external record type. Both our sales users and our support users create cases for customers, so we'll check both these profiles. And save. Next, we create all the pick list values we need. We go back to the Fields section and add some values to the Type field. We can assign these values to the appropriate record type and save. The last thing we'll do is add the record type field onto both the internal and external page layouts. So any user that has access to more than one record type can quickly see which type they are using. We go back to page layout and edit both the internal and external layouts. Done! Let's log in as a support user to see what this looks like from the perspective of our end users. When Lars creates a new case, he can switch between the record types if necessary. The description field for each record type displays here, making it easy for him to choose. And selecting a record type provides Lars with the fields, pick list values, and business processes that he needs for that type of case. He isn't overwhelmed with choices he doesn't need or fields that don't apply. Here are some things to watch out for. Once you have created and assigned record types, you can edit those assignments by profile in the Manage Users, Profiles section of the Setup pages. If any records have already been created in your system before you created and started using record types, those original records won't have an associated record type. You'll need to retroactively assign the proper record type ID. You can use Data Loader to extract your cases. Be sure to include at least one of each record type so you have the ID. Then you apply the correct record type ID and update the records using the Data Loader Update button. To learn more about visibility and access, check out all the titles in this video series. You can also search for these topics in Salesforce Help. And come join us on the trail at trailblazer.salesforce.com.